a misuse of my technology.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture.
Always the guy go with your tried and true. I feel like. I also feel like Ryan's still in a pretty decent spot. Kind of has to play aggressive with those things down on grip. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it's gone off to a good start. Warriors always doing this one with the fire strike here on the control center. Such a strong map for the Rhino to be able to get into those close quarters. And with Gordo pushing forward, this is when the Edgewood some space getting in on the punch here as it is about to unlock.
Have plenty of time to be able to sit back and vibe. I feel like you've been able to do a good job holding down this first line and anticipating that full wraparound quite well here. You mentioned how the point was unlocked. They're already starting to accrue a little bit of time. Just got to watch that high ground for now.
And Melly's able to get 2 picks on the Lucio, so that's a great start. On the back line as well, so the front line's able to push up, and then the back line able to hold it down. And the Eagles here off to a great start, already growing that cap percentage like you mentioned to you, and now they're in a great position to be holding the goal.
I like the aggression, to be able to push up and just have the confidence. Gordo doing a great job with to be able to send those, send shots essentially right on the broken on that line of sight. Able to avoid the big box and keep the pressure going.
Yeah, the pressure is going crazy over to the one, getting rid of Melly, so this is going to be Georgia State University. And Edgewood smartly backing up. He's got average. Been able to get one. Kaiser finds a pick with the disruptor shot and he is down. And this is going to be Kaiser just holding angles on that soldier. Able to deny a lot of space with that damage spread. As Evans able to find that back there. Edgewood still backing up to the space and now losing those players, so they're going to have to go for a retake.
That full run back, and Kaiser's unfortunately not going to be able to find safety either. So not quite a full stagger, but will slow things down a little bit. Talk about as far as scaling up to 69% off grip. This is a great start.
Yeah, they've been looking strong so far. Crazy was able to find a nice rail shot onto Maddie, so that is going to be one to the good for Jordan. Once again, Edgewood back in, and now some ultimate speed that fluffed out and by the Maddie. That's it. Most players up and Starmaster is going to go down to that signal ultimate. So Edgewood just waiting this out, and honestly, not a bad place to be, getting some ult spent on the other side as they wait for a reach.
Also still have that tire in the back pocket too. I'm going to be interested to see when that comes out. As far as value-wise, especially on these goal points, and everyone's kind of putting together. What a great job in the line. Right back to
Gordo has no fear at all getting to the back line and forces out a sound barrier from left to make sure that Georgia State University stays in this fight, and with a good use of the Lucy ultimate, they're able to push back and counter and get another fight here, so both these teams are going to come even.
Well, as much as we did see the Edgewood Eagles be able to start off with themselves a good run, and they have to find a way to get these team fights back together. It felt like earlier the target prioritization was in point. They were able to find those early picks. They just struggled to do so in this last little team fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit with their mindset, but they're able to get in and get one. Evan is going to go down. That was a beautiful Mayball coming out from M-Star Master to set up the target Gordo. And now Gordo is pushing forward with the Earth Shatter online. And they start creating even more space. And the Shatter comes down, knocks down 3. Gordo security kills still again as the Mayball comes out once again and leaves off the blade. And with that, Georgia State University is going to get 2, and it looked like they were in serious trouble there after the Earthshatter.
It looked like they were in trouble, but got caught forward just a little too far, and it is going to end up being punished. You see the point end up being turned around, and now they're going to have to try and find a way back over here to get it touched quick, fast, and in a hurry. They're already at 90% over on the opposite side.
This will be final fight territory, and Crazy is already thrown down. So a disadvantage for the Eagles. Sandra comes out, isn't able to hit Gordo, but Kaiser finds one with the
This ends now.
overtime, burning away, and with Evan getting a kill on the Kaiser, that's going to do it for the first round of the evening, and Georgia State University is going to take the lead here on the Returning Tower.
Hey, I mean, the good news is, you get to reset things back on the next point. You just win these next 2 points. It's like the first point didn't even matter. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. The unfortunate thing is it felt like the tides really turned there once we had seen it didn't even really feel like it was over aggression by pushing up too far. It just felt like there was one team fight where all of a sudden the control started to turn, and I don't know if it was just the side of Edgewood starting to make like a small mistake or what. It just felt like those last couple fights nowhere near the same pace as the first couple.
And I'm totally with you. I think the aggression is a good call for the Eagles, and we'll see if they want to keep up with that here. I think Gordo was getting into the right spots with that Reinhardt, and it just was like one pick here, one pick there, and they just couldn't finish off the fight.
Maybe they can do the same to start the stage here on our second point. If they've got everyone piled on in, the only problem is that everyone's piled in. Just make things a little bit easier as far as
Has switched over to the Hazard here, and the Hazard's going to go down quick. A nice win from Gordo. And once again, just like the last round, we're seeing Eagles get off to an early lead here, going to secure this first cap. And some great target prioritization once again, too. They seem like they're really on their game and they're finding those picks in the right order.
Well, let's see if they can continue with the consistency when it comes to that target prioritization of the fights. And if they are able to keep things up, it's just one, essentially team fight at a time. Right now, doing a great job of being able to just hold the line over here at the bridge.
And now it looks like Georgia State University will have to be careful too, because we know Melly likes getting those boops on the Lucio, so that's always on the menu. Rotation going over into the white room now for Georgia State, seeing if they can get a different point of ingress as they creep close to the point under the threat of the rocket hammer from Gordo. Kaiser has the Symmetra ultimate online, but they might not even need it. Evan's going to go down here quick to start this fight off, and now the Eagles surging forward, getting the kill they need to secure another fight. Already halfway through the round as M-Star finds some right clicks on the Mei.
And we have been seeing some phenomenal Mei walls that have been popping up to be able to break away the tank, which then just, once you take the big boy out, everybody else behind so much more squishy, and it's allowed for them to keep the control in these first couple of fights. Back to what we saw at the start of point number 1, and they're up to 65% here just about.
And doing a good job of really making use of that aggression and getting forward and taking that space, and then importantly as well, holding on to it. Ultimate economy in the Edgewood College Eagles' favor as well. Both Mayholes come out, get a bit of an ice cream sandwich as the Ant Matrix comes through, combined with the Fire Strike, isn't able to get a kill as the members of Georgia State are able to disengage and stay alive in this fight. Split push coming through as they are trying to get back in on the fight. If the Eagles take this, they are going to win the round, and Melly's able to find the pick here on Gracio, and that stops him off on the right foot, able to get a charge into the backline, and Gordo finds 2 with the environmental kills, and that about wraps it up here for the second round.
That looked clean, 100% to nothing. They were quick to rush to get the touch to be able to lock things down, and not once did they surrender it. I was a little worried the way things turned around on that first point. That now has me feeling pretty good moving into our third point here as well. Also noticing, we had seen a couple of changes as far as the composition on that opposite side for Georgia State. Looks like a couple more changes here as well. Makes me wonder if they're starting to question some things over there.
Yeah, it's trying to find that secret sauce right now. And Kaiser looked really good on the Symmetra in that last round. And that can only bode well for the Eagles coming into this third round. I think Night Market really is the strongest of the 3 Lijiang Tower maps for that Symmetra, especially if they can get to the point first again.
Oh, off to the races we go. You got the whole squad. You got the Lucio for the quick skates to be able to get right towards the point. Both teams have the same idea. Gordo looking to lead the charge. Has already found 2.
Listen, Gordo's so strong in the front line on that Reinhardt, and now you can see them just running roughshod into the back, just not able to be punished. And M-Star Master, once again with the Maywall, is able to cut off the tank. That is an absolute menace right now for Evan. They just don't know what to do with those Maywalls.
It almost feels like we keep reiterating the same point, but it's really been that simple. It's been the opening picks that continue to get found from those Maywalls. Now, M-Star Master is going to fall here at this point, which might turn the tides just a little bit. You can see right now doing a great job of playing around lines of sight, but now pushing in here is the Lamacha. This could be tough.
Georgia State going in with the portal once again. Maddie has to use that immortality field early, and it's paying off. Kaiser and Gordo are able to find 2, and now the eliminations are coming swift and quickly for Edgewood College Eagles. They're able to win this fight clean, already at 30%, and they've won 2 fight wins, and they haven't really used any ultimates yet.
No, they haven't used any ultimates. They'll have a couple that should be on line here soon. Matter of fact, 4 of them, thanks, should be online relatively shortly. I think the other thing too is how quickly that last team fight turned on its head. You gotta feel like the vibes are high right now in that as far as like the Edgewood, like the call, you know what I mean?
And Georgia State right now, they're just finding it hard to find a crack into the armor, find a way onto the point, uses the teleporter, and then decides not to go through it because that could have been rough if they had. And now Kaiser back in onto the point, trying to keep those turrets up. M-Star Master's able to get 1, and now the hammer is coming down. M-Star Master pushing forward. Means finally able to get 1 on the far, coming back on a flyer, seeing if they can get some from outside. Kaiser finishes off Evan, and the point is still held. And once again, the Eagles are into final fight territory, and they could viably win 100-0 once again.
Yeah, they're looking to try and do so right now. Celestial, you got doing a phenomenal job now, jumping around, being able to keep themselves alive, and looks like maybe Reinhardt might have gotten caught just a little overextending. Gordo has 5 HP in a Dream, unfortunately going to fall.
Yeah, the Dream isn't going to work out for them that time. But now Kaiser is on the point, and if this Sim gets charged up, they can do a world of hurt to Georgia State University, and that's exactly what Kaiser's doing, able to get 2 before they finally go down. It was going to be a tall order for the Symmetra to win that fight, and the Eagles still getting back, stalling this out. They do have a couple ultimates online, but M-Star wasn't able to spend the Blizzard before they go down. And now with the Blizzard coming out, it looks like Eagles just want to wait for another push. They have the ultimates in their favor once again.
A couple of ultimates, like you do mention, one of which being that Blizzard Gordo, making a change over to the Doom Fist here. No, is actually going to go ahead and switch right on back to the Rhine. I was kind of curious what the game plan would have been switching things up. The good news is they're right on the doorstep here, being at 99, so I mean, newbie, they're 1 fight away from wrapping things up here.
And they got right behind them with the teleport into the backline, onto the point. The Amp Matrix is out, and now the Blizzard is as well. So those ultimates are being spent for the Eagles, able to get 2 trades coming through. This is a scrappy fight right now, but the Eagles have the upper hand. Gordo in onto the point, swinging. Only a couple members of Georgia State left. Can they pull this out? As long as that Forest stays alive, they can be such an aerial threat, and Georgia State University are going to keep this going.
Now a quarter of the way there, and everybody else going to be back into the fray. You see, going to be coming back to that back line here to be able to get those last couple of players back into this point. You need to make sure you got all 5 up, so Lucio doing their job, kind of playing taxi man.
Yeah, Lucio Taxi is a classic, and now Gordo throws in a fire strike early, finds the pin in onto Evan, goes over the edge, is going to take the Ram with him, so that's both tanks out of the fight early, as Main and Crazy are able to get 1 each. So the DPS showing up in this fight for Georgia State. They're going to hold on here, and this map might go the distance.
Looks like it's going to here. I mean, you've already got the 99% from Edgewood, but not only that, they continue to climb over on the side of Georgia State University one more time, using that taxi to get everybody back and everyone grouped together for the Eagles. You feel like it's 70%. Unless this ends up being a quick fight, this could very well be the last chance.
Yeah, this one could be for all the marbles, and it's going to start off with Meme throwing down the barrage, able to get 2. So a 1-person advantage now for Georgia State, trying to get in onto the point. Pin coming through. Gordo has no HP left. They are going to go down. A huge annihilation comes out from Evan, and that is going to clear off the point, and it's going to be tough for the Eagles to touch here.
Yeah, I don't think they've got enough time. Even if they could get a touch, it would only be a couple of players running into all 5 for the team here. 99, hold on. Able to get the teleport to get in. Can they maintain the point is now going to be the challenge. The ult might be available over on the side of Georgia State though.
That is absolutely huge. Able to get onto the point with the teleporter and now spend a couple ults. Earthshatter did come down as well. Crazy is able to find two. So the trades are coming through. A small advantage right now for the Eagles. And now Maddie is able to confirm the kill onto the Sojourn. As overtime burning away somebody for Georgia State has to touch, and they do, but Evan is going to go down for their troubles, and by the slimmest of margins, Edgewood College Eagles take the map and the first map of the day.
Well, you talked about it going down to the wire. That it did indeed. Man, talk about being able to survive by the skin of your teeth. Always good to be able to set the tone as we do watch back the play of the game here from the Farah.
Yeah, Farah with those boots. Can get a lot of plays in the games with that character, but for me that was for me an ideal round of Overwatch. You know, Edgewood College Eagles take it, and we get to see a lot of good players from a lot of players, frankly, on both teams. A really back and forth round, and I'm hoping that continues because that was a really exciting showing from those two squads.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was even back and forth in that first point of the three as well, right? I think we're going to be in for a barn burner here on the evening, and that's exactly what I was hoping for. Thursday night Overwatch. Let us go all five before we pick up the dubs, at least as long as we do pick up the dub. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel like as far as if they can continue when the fights were clean, which I know it makes it sound so like easy, but it seemed like as far as like majority of the team fights were going even if slightly in favor of Edgewood, it's still in favor of Edgewood.
Yeah, and I think clean's a really good word to use, especially describing those fights that Edgewood looked really good on. You can tell they were taking the calls from Gordo. Gordo's getting in with that Reinhardt. M-Star and Kaiser doing a great job on the DPS line to hold on to that space to make sure that they're keeping it. And then low key, I've said this before on streams. I love how Celestial Maddie plays BAP. Just the damage BAP, clicking heads. You'll love to see it.
When you got everybody doing their job, I mean, that's when they're at their best. I feel like when a majority of your map looks like that, you're in a pretty good spot. So you're able to come in, you set the tone in map number one. Now it's about carrying things over once we figure out where we're going to map number two here, because it's first to three. If you're able to win those first, I feel like win those first two maps back to back doesn't
Yeah.
guarantee a win, but man, it's certainly hard to win three in a row.
I mean, I think it's good to get, control under the belt. Obviously, winning the first map is better than losing the first map. Like, I'm terrible at math, even I know that. But like rolling into our next map, whatever it may be, I think it feels like the Edgewood College Eagles are really like in their pocket a bit. Like they're feeling it. They know what they need to do to win now. They just got to keep it up.
Looks like we're going to be off to Midtown here for our next map. I know you had mentioned before, usually we kind of see Edgewoods kind of sticking to that same composition, from map to map. Do you feel like going to a map like Midtown, any considerations as far as potential changes to the composition here?
Just thinking of some of the hero pools and what might change. I don't think we'll be seeing Kaiser on the sim maybe as much. Like I feel like that's really strong on control map specifically. So maybe we have her going over to a Sojourn, a Cassidy, yeah, even a Genji. Those are the three I would kind of pick. I said it to you when we were talking before this match started. Kaiser just absolutely cracked on the DPS. So they could definitely go with one of those hit scan options and really kind of take over a lobby sometimes. Gordo I've seen play some Ram. I think that could be an option. Even Wrecking Ball might like I feel like specifically the Reinhardt might struggle a bit on Midtown, but if anyone's gonna play it here, it's Gordo.
I feel like Reinhardt and Gordo do definitely go hand in hand. You had mentioned the Ramatra. I feel like Ramatra being in a pretty solid spot right now. Wouldn't mind seeing that brought out because we saw it obviously being brought out on the opposite side as far as from Georgia State there. But I would really like to see, kind of get to see Gordo trying their hand there, see what it looks like. But we'll go and get ready to head off to Midtown. We'll start seeing those compositions here in 5 minutes, and we'll be able to kind of play around with it before we get ready to go into map number two.
Yeah, so and it looks like Kaiser is at least showing the Sojourn, and obviously in the defense they kind of got to stick to those choices. I think Sojourn's a really smart pick here. You got some good sight lines. Obviously, those rail shots can be really strong. And Gordo going with the 6, so not a bad choice either. Like, you think of this map or other maps with long sight lines like Havana, you know, Sigma is always a good choice on those kind of maps.
One of my personal favorites, I mean, that is my dad after all. Can't tell me the side profile. You can't see the family resemblance. So it looks like maybe even seeing the mirror on the front line with Evan potentially hovering over the Sigma here as well. I do have to agree. I feel like with the, especially this first middle fight where you kind of got those longer points, are a really good tank to lead the charge with. You can see trying to lead, land that first rock just to kind of send off a warning shot.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love for Sigma to be my dad too. I mean, that's a handsome father there, but we got Gordo just holding down some of the space to start us off. Gonna have to be careful. I do feel like Sigma's a good choice into the Bastion as well, obviously not knowing that's what Crazy was gonna come out on, but with M-Star Master giving a little bit of a May difference there on Meme to start us off, this is gonna be time already starting to burn away, and Georgia State University is gonna have to wait for that one player to come back.
I just gotta say, I personally am always a fan of being able to get started on the defensive side, being able to set yourself a very clear and concise sort of finish line whenever you do go onto the offensive side. And I also feel like with as clean as a lot of their team fights looked on map number 1, you had to feel like this first standoff would be relatively long. However, it could be coming to an end relatively soon. They've got to make sure they can keep themselves upright here.
Yeah, Evan throwing down the flux here early on. That's going to be the first ultimate spent. And even though Melly hadn't quite worked himself up to the sound barrier yet, everybody's able to stay in the fight, at least for a moment. Celestial Maddie is going to go down first here into this fight. And now Gordo is going to get low and fall to the ground. So this is Georgia State University breaking through here, getting a couple kills. Melly fighting for the life, able to get 2 on the Lucio and keep this going. Kaiser in the back still is almost full health, seeing if they can get the damage done, and it was just not enough, and that was almost a clutch coming up from Melly and Kaiser at the end of that fight.
Able to burn enough time, though, at least to make sure that there's the ability for the rest of the squad to get back over towards this point and apply a little bit of pressure. We see Gordo's already started leading the charge there. Evan and company for the side of Georgia State also making their way on back, but that means they still haven't gotten close to being able to cap this point, and with this ult coming out, they might be able to turn this defense around.
Kaiser's able to get 2 final blows with the Sojourn, obviously set up by the Gravitic Flux coming up from Gordo, and now with M-Star finishing off Crazio. That turns it around, and it really starts Kaiser Melly holding the fort for that long. Like you said, was able to buy enough time for Gordo and company to get back to the point. And at the end of the day, only 1 tick for Georgia State University, and they're back to the drawing board.
Only 90 seconds left as well. You figure as far as at the rate that these team fights have been going, they don't have too much more time. I also really like their ability to kind of back down and still play this kind of high ground, low ground combination as well. It's allowed for them to kind of spread out the attention as far as from Georgia State.
So nice blizzard coming out there from Meme, was able to freeze up 2, and the follow-up is coming from Georgia State to confirm those kills. Kaiser is in the backline, finds one with the rail shot. As long as Kaiser and Maddie are alive, they have a chance, but this is going to be a disengage as now Celestial Maddie decides that they're going to get out of dodge, and that will be the cap for Georgia State.
Good hold. You're able to hold them off for about 3 minutes. So it's going to be 3 minutes on the clock here as they do start pushing forward. You can see this trio doing a great job of keeping themselves alive. That main wall almost separates the Sigma away from everybody else. Big rock might put them in a position where they're able to put them down. Team fight, team wipe. And wow, that's the way it bounced back.
Man, that was an over rock combo there with the overclock and the accretion coming up from the Sigma. And that was pretty much a fairly cheap fight in terms of ultimate are going. And now it looks like Eagles can just hold on to this corner. And I mean, even these long fights, they're favoring the defense and just always whittling more and more time off the clock. And even though that AM Matrix comes out, Gordo is able to find another with the rock and now pushing forward, knows that they have their team behind them. And now Georgia State University has to spend these ultimates just to get back to the cart.
And while it will indeed allow them to get to the cart, you had mentioned they used quite a bit of their economy it does mean that these next couple of fights are going to be that much more of a challenge. I like that Melly's being able to be at least enough of a nuisance so there's a little bit longer of a delay for this cart to be released. You feel like this next stall point could very well be when it starts going up the hill here, and they've got plenty of time to set up for it.
Yeah, the next big thing on the menu of these teams trying to hold on to the high ground. So you can see Meme actually using that Blizzard on the fight to secure their team high ground and make sure that they can get a little bit of an elevational advantage here as the payload goes underneath. And smartly, Eagles are just going to stay underneath, hold on, burn more time off the clock. They do have 4 ultimates online here until Georgia State's won, so the Transcendence is going to be spent, and that is going to heal a lot of the damage coming out from the Flux, but will it help with the Blizzard? That one's looking a little bit dicier. MStar is able to find 2, and the picks are coming through, so I don't blame Lamarama for using that Transcendence when they did, but I mean, just one ult, unfortunately, can't cancel 3 out on the other side.
Adaptability. You had mentioned how big the high ground was. We saw Georgia State be able to take the high ground, and Edgewood was like, all right, it's fine. We'll all just kind of pile up down low, and they were able to win that team fight. It's just 60 seconds left, and they haven't pushed so far back away from this payload currently.
Yeah, there's going to have to be another fight on the corner before they even get back to the payload. Crazy does have an open block online. Another nice accretion coming out. Gordo's been hitting a lot of those. But Amstar is going to find an orb to the dome, and that is going to take down the maze. So backing up here, trying to play this safe right now. Maddie has to use that immortality field. Just save a couple members, but this is going to be Georgia State University pushing forward here. They're going to get the cap, but there will be another fight before they're able to get to the end of the point.
Still around the corner here and be able to get this into the square. You figure you'll be able to get everybody back in from the respawn. 16 seconds means that they will be feeling the pressure over at Georgia State. They know that it's now or never. They can't overextend. That's going to be a big ult to pick up a majority of the team. It looks like they might be able to stave off though.
This is an absolutely massive ad matrix coming out here from Celestia Maddie, and that was the only reason why this fight was even close, as it was started off by the Flux from Evan, and that will be the point getting capped. So once again, in the nick of time, Georgia State University is able to cap here and extend this map.
Well, here we go. It's all about getting from here to the end line, and they've only got 75 seconds to be able to do so. And of course, that payload can only move so fast. Part of the reason that we are seeing Georgia State trying to advance that pressure up a little bit, kind of keep everybody away, but I mean, right now, Edgewood continues to just press forward. They're feeling confident here.
Yeah, and using that Gravitic Flux early on to really start this engagement off. And now Gordo is getting to 1 HP, and they are staying up on their feet. I cannot believe it. A great job from the backline on keeping that tank up. And now the sound barrier is going to come up, and that is going to be the second win for the Eagles to come back in and try and push this advantage. Maywell comes out, splits off Evan, and Kaiser's able to confirm the kill. So you can see the teamwork paying off for the Edgewood College Eagles there, as they are able to confirm the kill onto the tank. But now with Gorda going down, it's 4v4 until Meme falls as well.
That pick on the Meme as well, going to be relatively huge. It's not a huge stagger because it's just the one player, the Tracer, which, I mean, damage, I guess you could say, out of anybody that gets pulled away, it's not too worrisome, but you figure now you turn the corner. This has to be where they can get to the finish line if you're Georgia State, because it feels the way that Edgewood's been, that they're probably pushing this to distance.
That could be a massive blizzard coming out there. Unfortunately, Crazio was able to get forward. Now gets 4 on the overcall. Crazio going crazy on the Sojourn. And now overtime's burning away, and one last chance for the Eagles to get back onto the point to see if they can recontest this.
You can see so far up there is the Tracer just trying to poke and prod, see if you can get a little bit of information as well to feed towards your team. It's going to be, I mean, meters away from the end if they're going to be able to pull things off. They're all stuck in this back, though. It's not looking good here, newbie.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a clutch play of some kind coming up. Maddie is going to throw down the Ant Matrix, but that finds nothing. And now with M-Star Master going down as well, that is going to be the payload rolling over the finish line. Round 1 is done, so in overtime, Georgia State University full caps, which means that the Edgewood College Eagles have to get the same distance if they want to force this to extra innings.
Now, remind me, though, if they are able to push it over and then they have, like, less if they also end up with like less than a minute, then both teams get reset to just the full minute. Is that right? Still, that's
Correct. And then if the Edgewood College Eagles are able to cap with more than a minute on the clock, they get to try and start again, whereas the Georgia State University would not get
would not.
another chance.
Right,
So,
right, right.
so
Okay.
really, if you're the Eagles right now, you want to cap with more than a minute on the clock. If you can do that, then the worst you can do in the map is a draw, and obviously you'll get a chance to win.
Let's go ahead and get down to it. We saw that as far as for the Edgewood squad on the defensive end, this first point was where they were able to really burn
Time to
down
win.
a lot of
Expect to
clock, and it
lose.
does look like they're going to come in with the same composition on the offense as they did on the defense, and I guess understandable, especially because we do see a lot of the same hero selects on both rosters right now.
Yeah, and I feel like when you get full cap like that, it can be a little bit disheartening. But honestly, at the end of the day, they were able to get them down to 0. And I feel like when you look into your chance on attack, you have a lot of places to make up time if you can really get this rolling and start snowballing some of these fights.
Defend objective A.
Gates are down. Let's go ahead and see how this first fight breaks out. They're trying to get there quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's the benefit of that Lucio. They're at least able to turn themselves around the corner. I like how deep they've been able to get. The only problem is now they are going to be full because you can't really play around that kind of like back pillar like we had seen in that first rendition of this fight.
Yeah, nice rotation through the alley here and now into the firehouse, moving themselves all the way onto the point. We saw the same thing on Lijiang Tower. Right now, the Eagles really want to get in and get their comp set up on the point. Now the accretion is going to go in. Prince is going to go down, and that is a great start if you're Edgewood. They're getting in onto the point, and they are getting the picks that they need. This is a blazing quick cap coming through for Edgewood, and like I mentioned parts where you can build up time on your opposition, and that's exactly what they just did.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even going to be able to get back in here to resist at all. Gordo's got them pushed right up back into their doors here at this point as well. So it's a full 5 and almost a half minutes that's going to be on the clock as this payload starts. We know the high ground is of importance. We saw Georgia State take advantage of that and just quickly push out their doors from there, but we have seen where the high ground hasn't meant much before roles were switched.
So right now, Evan and the rest of Georgia State just trying to claw back some of that momentum after getting rolled over on the first point. And they are doing that. They are getting a hold here, so they are going to be able to stabilize. And now we'll see what they want to do here, Q. Do they want to go back up onto the high ground or do what the Eagles did on their defense and really hold this as forward as possible?
I mean, I feel like with how quickly the first fight went, I don't think you want to get caught overextending, which is part of the reason that we have seen Georgia State fall back. Also, it seems like they really favor that high ground. They did it on both offense and defense, and understandably so. High ground generally supreme. Let's see how they can handle it on the offensive side, having to play from the low side.
Yeah, really using the verticality to their advantage right now. Kaiser getting low, does have that overclock online, has to power slide forward, make sure that they can stay alive in order to use that ultimate. As we got M-Star Master throwing down the Blizzard and paying with their life almost instantly. Trades coming through, advantage for Georgia State University, but now Gordo going crazy once again, able to get 2 and the Immortality field, and now 3. Gordo is on the warpath, pushing forward. They do have the Cryptic Flux online if they really want to put the nail in the coffin here, but they know they have Evan out in line aside from their support, so they are just going to take them down in the neutral. Kaiser is going to be there to finish that off, and now the payload getting close to the end of this map. Gordo has that flux, but they are going to go down. Didn't have that shield repositioned, and this will be a hold, but some pretty good card progress coming out there for the Eagles.
Yeah, and I mean, the benefit of being the fact that they capped it so quick, you can kind of take more time on this first push to go up, or down and then up that concurrent hill on the other side. But you don't want to waste too much time. We talked about at the top of things how they do want to try and finish things off with more than a minute. And you feel like with these first 2 fights, after the point being capped, not gone in your favor, you're starting to run out of time.
M-Star Master is going to go below with the rest of the team once again. It seems Eagles are saying, fine, you guys take the high ground, we are just going to go low. Kaiser's able to get 1 to start us off, and now the ultimates are being sent. Nelly goes to the sound barrier and then finishes off Lamarama. 2-4-1 for that Lucio, showing some great value on more than just that speed boost. Staying in the backline, getting the boots in, and now isolating Evan, 1 HP, and MStar Masters there to help secure the kill. And this is looking good for Edgewood as long as they can hold on through this Transcendent, waiting for that Zenyatta ultimate to end, and now the Matrix will be spent, and there's no defensive ultimate on the other side anymore. MStar finds one through the window, and with the help of that BAP ultimate, this is going to be the second point getting capped, and still 3:45 on the clock for the Eagles. Keep surging forward, and now they get a stagger pick onto Evan.
It's one of my favorite tanks that you really don't see played at the highest levels these days. I love me a little bit of Wind Ton. You'll see though, Gordo will retreat back, understandably wanting to go with the Sigma. It is a play, more of a safe pick, but I got really excited to see my boy Monkey out there for a minute.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see some more of that Winston later, because, I mean, Winston wasn't there for a long time, but definitely for a good time in that last fight. And now Gordo's back on that Sigma, and already a quarter of the way to another ult, so they're building up those Gravitic Fluxes quickly. Crazio does have one of those overclocks online, and we have seen Crazio go nuts with those into the past as we got a Bob out onto the field. It means Bob is going to get rid of M-Star Master. And the rest of Edgewood just going to back up here, see if they can disengage, get out of this fight, and we come back in with a full 5.
I like the discipline to fall back instead of trying to panic, and whether it be rotate around and just break line of sight. You go, let's fall back, let's get the full 5. Kaiser is unfortunately going to fall, but otherwise it does feel like they're still doing a pretty good job of being able to weather the storm. And with 2.5 minutes still left on the clock, they don't have to panic just quite yet.
Yeah, and they still have that minute left in the time bank in their sights if they want to cap, with a chance to get the only push in the extra time. Melly has a sound barrier online, so a lot of ultimates coming online for both sides here. Gordo getting a look at hit with the accretion, forces out the sound barrier from the Lucio. Now we are going to get a blizzard as well. That is going to be answered with the Transcendence on the other side, and this Transcendence is going to be huge coming out from Lamarama, but the pressure is going to be continued by Edgewood. Kaiser is going to find a headshot onto their opposite number, getting rid of Crazio. And this payload is rounding the last bend, and it looks like the Eagles are taking control here. Kaiser into the back line on a flank is able to find another. That Zenyatta was not long for this world as Gordo lands an accretion and puts the icing on the cake, as Eagles are going to get a chance to take a 2-0 lead here on Midtown.
Well, I tell you, didn't need to panic just quite yet, and then all of a sudden, absolutely going crazy, being able to turn those last 2 corners, finishing with enough time on the clock as well to make sure that they're the only squad with a chance at things here. This is exactly what you were looking for from Edgewood.
It is, and I love something that you pointed out during that last point was seeing these disengages and how clean some of them are and how disciplined it is from Edgewood to be able to recognize that they're losing a fight, getting out, getting their players back before they go back in. Because I feel like that macro is something that might have stung them a bit in the past, but it's looking almost flawless for them right now.
Has been looking really good. They don't have too much time on the clock here for going into overtime, but all you really need to do, right, is at least make sure that you can continue with touches to keep the overtime wick going. So we saw them do such a great job on the attack last time around. Do you feel like they go for that same around the outside sort of pivot rotation, or do you anticipate that they're going to expect that and just go with the attrition, like the traditional, like just straight down the middle sort of play?
I think maybe just because that rotation worked last time, like you said, maybe Georgia State University is planning on that happening again. So maybe just run it back down mid and just get them with the speed from the Lucio. But it looks like they are going to take that rotation again.
They're going to take it again, but you can see it is much better anticipated on that Georgia State side. They're going to absolutely try and pinch them down here at the alley. Going to have to make a play here. M-Star Master, though, with that May wall, able to find a big opening pick.
Because that is absolutely massive. Kaiser is going to go down, so it is 4v4 for the time being. But M-Star on this point is dealing so much damage, and nobody touches for Georgia State University. And that is going to be the round. And there's letter number jokes you could maybe reference at this point, but we're just going to let that one lie, I think.
What a play, what a play. Able to get things done quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think they call that efficiency, and most people are always down for efficiency. Crazio had that big play as far as to be able to slow down one of those initial pushes, which is going to be our play of the game. But that is now two maps here in a row for the side of Edgewood Eagle. They've been able to open up the closet door. Now all they got to do is reach in and find the broom.
Yeah, this is looking great for them so far. And honestly, like, I mean, quick shout out to Crazio for that overclock play because it was pretty sick. Like, we're not gonna lie, that's some solid Sojourn play.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was interesting with the Edgewood College Eagles. Like, I feel like maybe there wasn't any one player that was absolutely crushing it. Like, yes, Gordo, Kaiser, Maddie all looked good at different points, but they just feel a little bit more cohesive. Like they know how to take some of these fights as a team.
Definitely seems like teamwork has indeed been making the dream maker. I think you make a good point, right? That like it's not that any player has necessarily been popping off, but they have all definitely been able to handle business in their own rights here. So you feel like heading into a third map, even though maybe felt like they got tested towards the end of their defensive side there on Midtown, still able to respond, able to get the dub, and now it's just one map away.
One map away, and it looks like we will be heading to Esperanza for our third map. So we got a push map coming up. So something that we really want to watch here in the first fight is who wins it, because I feel like push is a map type, a game mode where if you win that first fight, it can really just snowball, and it makes that the first engagement of the round just so important if you can start building that momentum.
I feel like, especially in a case where you look at kind of how the last couple of maps have gone, now you head into a map where that first fight is so big. You feel like for Edgewood, if you're able to be able to really assert yourself in the first fight, maybe you can force that thought in the back of Georgia State's mind of like, oh boy, here we go again, versus them being motivated to try and pull off that reverse sweep. Because yeah, it's possible, but I feel like if you go into map number 3 and all of a sudden get punched down to the ground one more time, it just feels like at that point you can't get back up. I gotta be honest, this is probably one of my favorite like mode types though. So I'm hoping we get ourselves a banger map number 3.
Yeah, this one push can be really fun. Like I mentioned, it is really snowbally, and you can see teams grow up to a huge lead. But on the flip side, if that team does get a huge lead, there is always that possibility that team number two decides to run it all the way back and just win
Right.
fights for like 4.5 minutes straight. So it's still anyone's ball game, and I mean, really, here on East Bronza, I really think that the play style of the Eagles is really going to benefit them. Like we've seen them be really aggressive so far, and I mean, we can cross our fingers. Hopefully, we get to see this Winston.
Please give me the Winston. You mentioned how their play style of aggression could favor them. Of course, Winston is one of those tanks that brings out a little bit of extra aggression. The one thing that I do gotta say, playing devil's advocate here, I guess you could say. We've at times seen where Gordo, even on the Rhine, had overextended just slightly in map number 1. I feel like it's that much easier to do it on a take like Winston, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely with you there. I do like it though. When Gordo gets forward, he's gonna have friends, right? He's gonna have that Genji, he's gonna have that Sombra.
True.
So it's gonna be more of a dive composition coming this time around, as opposed to more static a bunker or rush composition that you can kind of see coming out from the Zarya-led Georgia State University this time around, and they are going to burn down Gordo early on in the fight. The bubble wasn't able to save them, and with Kaiser going down as well, this is looking like the first fight will probably be going to Georgia State University. They're going to get that first push.
It was interesting. We were hanging on board with Gordo there for a minute. It looked like hesitation. We were just trying to figure out exactly when the first dive was going to come in. Ended up getting put down onto the ground relatively quickly here. You mentioned how big that first fight could be. We do see Georgia State going to be able to take it. They've already got this thing 25 meters as well. Let's see if they can avoid the first checkpoint right off rip.
I mean, M-Star Master getting a huge pick onto Crazy. That's going to relieve some of the pressure on the backline, because they don't have to worry about that Tracer in their midst. And speaking of pressure on the backline, that's exactly what M-Star Master is going to do. get into the back and hassle the supports so that they can keep their attention on Evan on that Zarya. And the bot control has been wrested from Georgia State University back to the Eagles. And they're still being a menace in the backline, but they are finally evicted as Crazy was able to take them out. So a little push coming through, and Gordo just trying to hold on to as much space as possible. Evan getting down to half, but it's going to be really tough to take that Zarya out.
Yeah, right now the Zarya is a thorn in the side, you could say, as far as the Edgewood Eagles. Trying to push in the back line here is Gordo. Going to be able to find that opening pick, and meanwhile, Kaiser already down. Edgewood could very quickly be in trouble here.
Yeah, Gordo even trying to utilize that nano boost that came into them from Maddie in that fight and wasn't able to take anybody out. It just seems right now that Gordo is kind of getting pulled in a couple different directions, can't really find a solid dive target to go on, and because of that, they're just not quite enough focus damage, enough burst damage to take anybody out.
Well, we see a bunch of ults already being available over for the side of Georgia State. Kaiser has theirs, and Borjo should have theirs. Actually, we should have a couple more being available for the Eagles here relatively soon as well, trying to avoid this first point from being captured as far as this payload. But again, another strong team fight over from Georgia State.
Yeah, this map pick, I believe, was a choice of Georgia State University, and you can see why they picked it. They really seem to know what they want to do here on Esperanza, and they are executing it perfectly, and they are off to a huge lead right now, about 55 meters counting. And Evan still has that Graviton Surge online. Gordo trying to get into the backline once again. And now we have the rally, we have the Surge out, and there is going to be a Blade as well. A classic combo.
Wow.
And Meme is going to just chop everybody up, getting 3. And this is going to be another fight win for Georgia State University. Using those ultimates well. Gordo's able to get one back with the Primal Rage. But this is tough sledding for the Winston right now. Definitely outnumbered.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you have one more diving in on you too. Can Gordo stay up and alive? It does look like they'll be able to keep themselves in this fight for now, however, and now they've got possession of this payload again, and they'll be able to continue pushing it forward. I was kind of worried things were looking grim there for a minute.
That one's on me. I should have trusted Gordo. In Gordo we trust, and I was worried there too, but they were able to take it out, and just even that distraction of the Primaling Winston in the backline was enough to create some space for the teammates to get forward, get the picks, and that's exactly what you want to see your tank do. As now Gordo has taken control of his high ground, trying to jump in onto Evan, who is low HP and out of bubbles, and they are going to secure the kill on the Zarya. And with Meme going down, this is momentum firmly in the Eagles' favor. They're going to really be able to push this forward and get some meters.
Yeah, remember when you were talking about how one team can have pressure, but it can very much get turned on its head in a mode like this? Well, looks like that's exactly what the Eagles are trying to do. They're getting relatively close as far as to this first check mark point, and there isn't really much resistance to be had. You'll see them round the corner, but Gordo, they're in a phenomenal call to be able to stay disciplined, push it back. They might have caught this hazard too far forward.
Yeah, with Crazy going down, that's a beautiful Bionade coming up from Maddie. Evan's able to find one back. Kaiser gets rid of Evan with the virus, and this point is still being contested, and just now is the checkpoint coming through, so 7 seconds. The bot will just chill out for a bit. You know, just take its sweet time, but Gordo not doing the same thing, going as far forward as they possibly can.
They would have landed that window. That would have been crazy. It might have almost put them too far forward. Still might have ended up too far forward. 70 HP. It looks like the Savior going to be in just in time to be able to keep them healed up, but only for a moment.
I mean, Gordo still lasted way longer than I thought they were. A great job from the support line keeping that Winston into the fight. Celestium is able to find one, but the Eagles are still down right now. And now the DPS Moira has joined the server, able to get 2 and now 3. The final blows coming through for the Moira. We got the TikTok Moira happening. And you know, it's working. It's working.
Now, you had mentioned the beast of plays that we might be in store for, and it does definitely look like coming out in map number 3. I am all here for it. Does look like they're gonna be able to push this thing back past that midfield line. Let's see if they have the ability to push it past not only the 70 meters, but see if they can technically put themselves in the lead because time's starting to run thin. There's only 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, we're starting to get into the business end of this map. And now the forward spawns have been activated once again for Gordo and the Eagles getting forward. They do have that Primal Rage online, but we're going to start off with the Blaze here from Mean getting into the back. Flo is able to slow that down. Shout out to Flo who's in on the Lucio as well. Able to rebuff that blade and make sure nobody goes down. Just Genji ult, and now Hazard comes in with the downpour, and that is going to be able to secure a couple kills. So now Georgia State University able to get on the front foot, get forward, and with Kaiser succumbing to damage, that is going to be Georgia State University taking control of the bot back. They still have the lead, and they're going to be able to burn more time off and get the bot back past halfway.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw Gordo pop that ult and push into the back line, and Evan here was just unfazed. Was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and do the same thing, and I'll just do it just a little bit better. It allowed for Georgia State to have the control. 2 meters away from being able to pass up the line that Georgia State had put up. Now it's going to be up to them to try and stop this push and regain control of the cart.
Gordo getting into the back, and with M-Star back on the Reaper, that is such a combo if you can get the Winston and Reaper into the back line at the same time, and that's exactly what the Eagles are doing.
Wow.
And now Gordo has had the chains come off, and they are going deep to get these eliminations.
Does get their way up into the window this time, so they'll be able to play the high ground. They have that little right shoulder peek there as well if they want to. Gotta worry about the flank, however. You do have a couple of players working their way around the opposite side, and with Gordo not really anywhere around to be a no, he did work through that. I was going to say they need somebody to put bullet sponge in that point.
Yeah, and it's looking good, and now Eagles do have the lead. It's like Crazio popping off on the Soldier once again, looking good on that DPS roll, getting those final blows. So the ball will go back to Georgia State University, but the Edgewood College Eagles now do have the lead, so 96 meters might be enough.
Let's see if that 96 is going to hold up. It looks like they're going to try and see if they can meet them right around that midway point, which definitely feels like the call. You feel like you can burn more time here, and then you still get one more crack at it before they got to really, being kind of contesting that 96 meter mark, and actually doing a good job of pushing him back as Flo finds one.
Flo is in a flow state right now on that Lucy, just keeping that back line on lockdown right now. It's really tough for flankers to get in and get their job done if you got Flo on that Lucio just clicking heads. Gordo's able to find one back here, so a 4v4 engagement happening right now. M-Star has the Death Blossom online, but they were low on HP, and Evan is going to make sure that HP's bar gets down to 0. Gordo does pop the Primal Rage and finishes off one in the end, but this is just a stall tactic at this point for the Winston, and frankly doing a very good job making sure that even though the Edgewood College Eagles have lost the fight, it's going to be a while before that bot gets back to the middle.
Matter of fact, they also extended past that 96 meter mark up to 105 as well. 19 seconds left on the clock, which does mean this is your last desperation push here for Georgia State. And remember, Edgewood is on series point, so one stop here would be able to allow you to walk away with another big Dubarooski from the Overwatch squad. I feel like they have to understand the situation that they are in.
Well, Maddie is understanding that if they just get in, kill the Tracer, that's going to start them off on the right foot. Now Gordo into the back line is able to get 2 more. Overtime burning away, and Georgia State University has to stay on the cart. They have no options left. They have nowhere else to go. M-Star Master just waiting for them to get close before they throw down that Death Blossom. Downpour is out, but it's going to be nothing more than a drizzle as overtime burning away. Meme's able to get one back in on the Tracer, but the hack and the kill are coming through from Kaiser, and that's going to do it. And Edgewood College are going to win this match, and they looked really good doing it.
They looked phenomenal doing it. Another map where, close, but Edgewood got the ice in the veins. Meme going to be walking away as far as with the play of the game on the Genji, which we had seen when the blade was popped earlier. I mean, just able to really be a menace.
Yeah, obviously that Graviton Surge Blade combo is as old as time, and it still works. So, I mean, a good play of the game there, but I I love some of the play that came out from Edgewood. I love some of the switches they made. Flow in on the Lucio looked good. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say this every day. Moira was the right choice.
Moira was definitely the right choice, and it just felt like always had the answers for whatever was getting thrown their way. We saw them meet some adversity, but then once they kind of put themselves into the driver's seat, it looked really, really good. And I mean, I don't feel like there's really too much to dissect from it because it does. I don't really think it was so much about any sort of mistakes that were made from the Georgia State side. It just felt like Edgewood had the answers when it mattered the most. We saw a couple of small mistakes, but nothing that prevented them from being able to pull off the sweep, you know?
Yeah, and this is definitely one of those matches where a 3-0 is a little bit unfair to the losing team.
Yeah.
Not only did Georgia State look good, but they were close in all of these maps. All of these maps, we had an overtime, we had a three mapper on control, and then each bronze went right down to the wire. So, I mean, all the way across, like it's a 3-0 in score, and those map wins are good. But you mean, hats off to Georgia State University. They look good. They had some solid individual play. Obviously, we saw Meme get a couple plays of the game, like looking good in the Farah on the Genji. But at the end of the day, I think Edgewood being superior on that macro, on that team play with their coordination, you could really see it with that Winston comp in the last map, was really put them over the line.
So I do believe that makes it back to back sweeps for this Edgewood squad, bouncing back after a loss 2 weeks prior to that. So we're already into the thick of things here as far as the spring semester. We've talked about how good they look. We'll have to wait to look to next week to see just how much better this squad gets. Newbie, an absolute blast to I get to join you up onto the desk the first time of hopefully a few more to come over the semester here for the Edgewood Eagles. If it's your first time through over here, guys, on the stream. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that follow button down below. Turn those notifications on. That way we can catch you whenever we go back live, not only for more Overwatch action, but just more Edgewood College action in general. Like I said at the top, I'm generally over here on Wednesdays as far as for our Rocket League as well, but we've got stuff all week long. That will wrap things up as far as for the broadcast today. Big shout out to Coach putting in all the work in the background as far as on the production side of things. Until we do get to catch y'all back over here for the next one, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. That's New Beat. I'm Q for the rest of the crew from the front to the back. Y'all have a great rest of your week. All right. Peace.